Are you ready?
Join Corner Corner where the big boys claim.
Oh, what's going on, my friends? Welcome to another episode of Ask StreamYard. This is the show where we take your questions and we pick one that is juicy. It's got to be juicy, and we will feature it in the Ask StreamYard show. So today we are actually going to be talking about adding and removing destinations midstream. So first, though, got to say hello to some people. What is up at WSLM Radio over on YouTube? And of course, Mike is here with us from Niagara Falls over in Ontario, Canada. So good morning, everybody. Christine is here as well. Good morning from Boston. Oh, what a great city. What a great city. So for sure. Jennifer says, sounds a lot like Pump Up the Jam. I got to tell you, I need to ask our friends at StreamYard, I need them to extend that little countdown timer to a little longer, because I'm like, I actually love it. I'm like, yeah, let's go. But then it's like gone. It's like up and then it's gone. And I'm like, oh, I want just a few more like seconds to dance it out, right? So I love it. So good morning, Michael. Good morning to you. And James is here as well from Ohio. Hey, that's one state over from me. I'm in Indiana. Robin is here from Kansas. What is up, sister? We got Inventory Lab. We have got all kinds of folks here today. Good morning to everybody. Wow. Okay. Where are you watching from? Here's the deal. Let me give you guys a quick thing. Oh, dang it. Christian's going to be so mad at me. I forgot the t-shirt. I was going to show you guys the t-shirt. So here's the deal. When you have a question and if you want to be featured in the show, go to our Facebook group. Okay. Now you could totally put this out on Twitter or wherever too, but like really we want you in that Facebook group. So the Facebook group, actually just search StreamYard community and it'll show up, right? And join that Facebook group. You should be in there anyway. But so if you use the hashtag #AskStreamYard, then that lets us know, hey, you want this question to possibly be featured on the show, where we take a deep dive and we answer the question. So again, today's topic is actually a really, really good one. I was excited. We get this question a lot, so I was excited to feature it on today's show. So today we're going to be answering Sue's question. She said, I recently had a broadcast where the client's guest wanted to stream to their platform, but this was after the show had already started. Can we add a platform once we go live? Well, I will tell you the quick answer to that is yes, you definitely can. But we're going to talk about what scenarios. There are some scenarios where this might come into play. She's talking about, hey, the guest was on the show and like, hey, can we stream to my platform? The show had already started. That's certainly a scenario. I'm going to go through 4 scenarios that I think are pretty common, but I'm also going to give you, as I always like to do, some things to consider, right? I always like to have, hey, you need to consider a few things before we start getting all crazy here, right? So, but first, let me say hello again. If you guys are new to the show, definitely let me know that this is the first time you're catching our Ask StreamYard show. We do this every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. My name is Melanie Dyann Howe, and just call me Mel, right? That's what I like to go by. I'm one of your live streaming mentors. I love live video and how great it can be for your business, yourself personally, your hobby, whatever it might be. So super, I'm a live video evangelist and a live video coach and mentor, and I'm excited to talk to you guys about today's topic. So let me see who is here with me. We got all kinds of folks here. Oh, I got a pop-up coming on. Peter's here too. Hello, Peter George. How are you? He's watching from Australia. I happen to know that. So we got all kinds of folks here. We got Mike's Auto Detailing, Ray Mark. Oh my gosh, all kinds of people here today. Oh, how are you? I am great. We have another one from Australia. Lots of people love to tune in from Australia. We got Fraser from Edinburgh, Scotland. Fantastic. Diane from New York. Man, we got California in the house. We got all kinds of folks here today. So, Ribbon the Moon says, I'm late. You're all good. You are right on time, my friend. There's no such thing as being too late. So here's the deal. Okay, here's what we're going to do. So Diane, I'll answer this quick question for you. I want your guys' questions. Totally feel fine asking questions, but let's work on keeping those questions as relatable to this topic as possible. But Diane, when you're in StreamYard, if you're using StreamYard to stream, your comments will show up right inside your studio and you just click on them to display them and then click on it again to turn them off. So definitely one of my favorite features about StreamYard for sure. So, okay, let me see here. I'm going to see who else here. We got all kinds of people. Al says, your lighting and background are wonderful. Have you done a show about this setup? Al in Vermont. So I've not done a show about my lighting. I've talked about my lighting on shows a lot of times, but I do love having a lot of fun lights. These are basically smart bulbs right here. And then I've got a couple tube lights down there. And then behind me, I have some under cabinet lights that are RGB and they change colors with this little remote right here. And it's super fun. So yeah, definitely not too expensive. You can spend a lot of money on lighting, but you don't have to, right? So yeah, for sure. I love StreamYard, right? Don't we all love StreamYard? So Zimbabwe, love StreamYard. Yes, fantastic. So awesome stuff here. Okay, here is what we're going to do. Okay. Great question. Morphe, that's a great question. I may have you ask that again. Do me a favor. Let's, I love from the Philippines. We're going to get into questions. And if you have a question, I will have you put a Q in front of that question. That helps me go find your question. But I'm going to talk to you guys first. I'm going to give you some of my thoughts about this, and then we'll get into some Q&A. How does that sound? Does that sound good for everybody? Okay, good. I have to take a sip of water. You guys, I got to be honest with you. I literally just got back from a haircut. Fresh cut. It's kind of wonky, kind of crazy. Always is when I first get a cut. And then I was literally on the phone with talking to my two business peers and business besties. And literally I was like, oh my gosh, it's 10:59. I got to go. So I ran downstairs, turned the lights on, and here we are. So let me just take a reset real fast, right? Sometimes you got to do that. It's okay. Take a little reset. Okay. Let me jump in here. Again, if you are just joining us, we're going to be talking about adding and removing destinations for your live stream. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So we're going to be talking about that. And again, I'm going to go through some scenarios about this, about why you might want to consider doing it, why you might not want to consider doing this, and some best practices for sure. So, okay, let's do this here. Okay. Christian is backstage to give me a hard time because I forgot the t-shirt. I can go grab the t-shirt. Literally, I swear to God, I'm going to go grab this t-shirt because he's very big on the t-shirt. Christian, I love it. So you guys, if we do feature you, like Sue is the one whose question we're featuring today, we are going to send Sue a StreamYard t-shirt. So that is an added benefit to when you are live streaming or when we are taking your Ask StreamYard question and featuring it. So that t-shirt is definitely a perk. I'm literally going to go run and get it. I had it. I just forgot to grab it when I came downstairs. So I'll be right back. I didn't have to go far. So here's the t-shirt, right? That is the StreamYard t-shirt that you will get. So there you go. Woo! Woo! There. Okay, Christian can't be mad at me anymore. He can't be mad at me forever. So there's the t-shirt that you're going to get. I had to run up the stairs. It was right there. I just forgot to grab it, right? Okay. Are you guys ready to dive into this? Let's dive into this. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. I want it. I want the shirt. Right? It is a great shirt. I got to tell you, it's soft too. Like it's not like some crappy shirt. It's actually a really great shirt. Peter wants a coffee mug. Yeah. Hey, you guys, if you guys want these things, you can. So here's the deal. You can join our office hours, which is 2 Tuesdays a month inside the community. Okay. You can also join on the town halls on Sunday nights. We do the giveaway. We run those giveaways and we give those items away. So definitely tune into those, and you might actually get one of those, right? So, all right, here we go. Let's jump in. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Let me see here. Okay, here we go. So today we are talking about adding and removing destinations. So here's the deal. The quick answer is yes, you totally can. Now let me pull up. I'm actually going to show you this. I'm going to try to show you this without screwing things up here. Here's the thing. People don't realize how easy this is to do, like truly. So I am going to see if I can do this without breaking anything. And I'm going to show you guys literally how easy this is. And then we're going to talk about some scenarios. And honestly, some of you may not realize like how great this is going to be. So mute that. There we go. Okay. Here we go. Now I can share my screen. And you guys will see me inside the stream. Okay, let me do this. All right, so you're seeing the inception thing. So just try to be okay with that. It's definitely a challenging part when you're doing a live demo. But what you see here is inside, this is what your preview screen is, okay? Now, over here are the comments. These are all the comments that show up where you can display those. Right above there, these are all of the let me make this bigger. Actually, I'm sorry. Let me turn off the logo. There we go. And let me make this a little bigger so you can see it better. All right, so up here, right, we see all this up here. These are your destinations, all right? So we see that we're inside our Facebook group right here. We're on our page. We're on LinkedIn. We are on YouTube. We're over on Twitter, right? We're doing all that. Now, if you wanted to add a destination while you're already streaming, you would actually just click edit. And then you're going to add a destination. Now we have destinations that are already set up. Hopefully you already have it set up. That would be key. You could simply just grab it and here you are. And you just say save changes. Now that is like a little fake test group that StreamYard has. So now, right when I did that, at that moment, now I am streaming to that particular new destination. Now, what's really important that you understand here is that editing is that simple. That destination that I just added that stream inside of that destination will start at that moment. It does not go back, right? It starts live streaming at that moment. And so that's one of the things you have to understand is that if you decide to add a destination when you've already started your live video, you can. It's going to start the stream at that moment, right? So when I said save changes, all of a sudden, if somebody's there, now I'm basically picking up midstream. And so that stream in that group starts midstream. On the flip side, if you wanted to remove a destination, right? You can remove a destination as well. So let me show you what that looks like really quick as well. So you basically the exact same way. I'm going to go up to edit. And then that same one, right? So you see all these here. So we're actually going to select it again and it's going to deselect it. And at that point, I'm going to be prompted, hey, do you want to remove the stream? Do you want to remove this destination? And I'm saying, yes. So I am going to remove it at that point. At that point, that stream inside of that place just ended. Okay. So as I did that, it ended in that moment. And so that's something that's also important to remember is that when you end it, it ends when you remove it from the destinations up top. It's that simple. As you saw, you can also customize the description, right? So you may want to customize the description. If you're adding a destination, you may need to say, hey, join us, as we continue this conversation, blah, blah, blah. Because something to keep in mind, again, I'm going to give you all these things to consider. When somebody joins that stream that you added midstream, well, they're missing the first part of your conversation. So they may be confused. If someone catches the replay on that page, they're going to be like, whoa, that was a weird, clunky start, right? So keep these things in mind when you are adding and removing destinations while you're streaming. So, okay, let me get back to the comments, make sure that makes sense for everybody, right? I definitely want to see that. The other thing, another thing I always like to try to remind everybody of too, is that if you have a feature request, right? If there's a feature request, you can go to StreamYard.com/contact and fill out the form. So if this show is definitely not feature requests. I'm going to ignore any comments about feature requests because we're going to stay on topic today, right? That's our whole thing. So, okay, let me see here. Let me see. Gonna fix that really fast. Sorry, sometimes we get trolls in here. We get trolls sometimes, y'all. I got to take care of that, right? Okay, so let me see here. I want to make sure that what I just showed actually makes sense. Okay, let me see. Yes, adding a destination and removing a destination. So simple and so straightforward. It really is that simple. Like, it's actually pretty awesome. And I think that people don't realize, like, how easy it is. Timo says, it always makes me nervous to mess with the destinations when we're live. Yeah, totally a valid concern. Here's the thing. Again, here's what happens. There's going to be some scenarios. Let's go through these scenarios about why this might be happening, because it's one of those things you got to be careful about. Let me see. Hold on. I'm going to read Jennifer's comment. Because I added a destination from the future broadcast instead of the studio, it had me confirm that addition from within the live studio. Good to know that I could do it directly within the live studio. Yes, totally. Like right inside while you're live. So you should be good to go. Now, I think adding a destination piece. So that was the other thing I was going to point out. Yeah, go ahead and go back here. So you'll notice here that these are the destinations we already have added to our account. So, if you're going to be streaming to multiple places, you can 100% have a Facebook page, a YouTube channel, a Facebook group. Now, to keep in mind, a Facebook group and a Facebook page, you have to have admin. Actually, all these places, you have to have admin rights to it. So back to Sue's point, this was something I really wanted to make sure I brought up here, and that she says it was her guest. Her guest wanted to stream to their platform, but it was after the show had already started. So while it's easy to add a destination, it definitely, she may not have been able to do this because it's her guest platform. Sue would have to be an admin of her guest platform. So she'd have to be an admin on the YouTube channel or on the Facebook page or an admin in the group. And that's where we get clunky with this process. Okay, so while you see here how easy it is for me to do that inside my own studio because my destination's already here, to add a new destination midstream, that is a little bit more complicated. So you can, and you're going to notice that here, you're going to see these options, but again, you have to make sure that you already preset up. So if this were to come up and your guest is like, oh, I didn't think about it, but we're already live, it would be great to go ahead and stream to my channel too. You as the live show host need to make a decision. Can you handle the complexity of that in the moment? Because it's pretty complex. It's pretty complex if you're not already able to add that person's destination. So that is my caveat to this, to the answer of this question. If it is a destination that you already have hooked up to your account, it's a lot simpler, right? So that's something for you to think about when it comes to this. Again, Sue was talking about her guest. So that's, it's definitely, there's a lot to consider there. But I do like how, yes, StreamYard now has it right inside that studio piece where you can add the guest, right? Jennifer says, I had 3 of our guest organizations log into our StreamYard account to add their destinations for our shared live stream. So yes, until StreamYard Teams is released, right? That's going to be fantastic. The workaround is to give someone access to your StreamYard account. They log into your account and then they can connect their destinations. But you would want to do this before the stream. It would be very clunky to try to do this midstream because, as you all know, when somebody needs to log into your account, they're going to log in with your email. Then you're going to have to get the code. Then you're going to have to send them the code. Then they can log in. Doing all of this while you are live, I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend it unless you have a segment in your show where you're maybe playing a video that's like a couple minutes long and gives you some time when you're none of you are on screen. You might be able to pull it off then, but I still think it's a lot to try to handle while you're really trying to focus on your audience. So here's the reminder for this. Have this conversation ahead of time. If this is something you want to try to do, then have the conversation ahead of time when you're going to have a guest and set this up. You can do it the way Jennifer's describing here, or the other way, if you don't want to hand the keys over to your account to that person, because once they are able to log in, they're able to log in until they clear their cache of their browser, right? And so the other alternative would be to have your guest make you a temporary admin of their Facebook page, their YouTube channel, wherever. And then you can say, okay, once we get this connected, you can then remove me as an admin. Because once you connect their destination, it stays there, whether you're an admin or not. Same thing goes for a group, a Facebook group. So they can temporarily make you an admin, you can connect those destinations, and then they can turn off you as an admin. That would be probably the safest way to do it. So Jennifer, I'm curious if you've ever done that before, if you guys have ever tried that process, right? So definitely one of those things. Hey, I love it when the person that we are answering the question for is here live with us. So Sue, welcome to the show. Good to see you here as well, as we're talking about your question, right? Okay, here's what's awesome. Atlanta Carcast says, when and why would you need to do this? I'm so glad you asked, because we are definitely going to talk about some of those scenarios for sure. So this is going to be super fun. Okay. Let me look at the questions, make sure I don't have anything crazy here that I need to address right away, right? Let me see. Yeah, Christian's basically saying you don't need to be nervous. Just make sure you have added the destinations before. You may also want to script out when you do it. It doesn't work for everyone. Right. So again, basically everything we just talked about. I definitely think this is something you want to add to your pre-live checklist now that you know that it's a possibility. But let's try this, right? Let's try this. Oh, Jennifer says we did this live. It was very tricky. It was tricky. So yeah, definitely want to try that out. Great suggestion. Add it to your checklist for sure with your guests. Now, I do want to say this. Just because you can multi-stream and add your guest destination does not mean that you want to do that. It does not mean that. So again, I've thought about this a lot. There have been times when somebody asked me, I'm on their show, and they said, do you want to stream this, multi-stream it to your page? And to be really honest with you, there have been times when I'm like, sure. But then there are times where I'm like, nah, let's just keep it simple. And here's my reasoning for it. If it's somebody that you don't know that well, and maybe you've never been on their show before, and you maybe don't even really know the whole full flow of their show, right? Which I do suggest you vet these things out. When it's streaming to your page, it's your brand asset at that point. So if something goes haywire, or that person doesn't maybe make a great experience and it's not really aligned with your audience, then you don't need to stream it to your audience, right? So be thoughtful about that. The same thing goes for your guests and their audience. Because if you're going to multi-stream to their destination, meaning their channels, then their audience is going to be commenting via their channel inside of your stream. Now, that might be awesome, but do you know their audience? Is that audience the right fit to be hanging out in the comments with your audience too? So there's a lot of things to think about there when you're going to do this multi-streaming. But today's topic isn't necessarily about that. It's about adding and removing destinations mid-stream. So, okay, let me see here. Is there a video to walk us through that? Evie, it really is that easy. I mean, it is. You are going up in the stream, you're clicking edit, and you are changing that. But Christian, let's make note of that maybe we should have a tutorial on this on our YouTube channel on how to do this and going through that deeper dive with it. So, okay, so here we go. Let me see here. Mike is so excited about Teams. I think that I love that he's so pumped about it. It is coming, y'all. It's coming. It's going to be fantastic. Okay, let me see here. No need to repeat your comments. I see your comments. I don't have any updates for 2022. We're talking about adding and removing destinations today. So we're gonna stick with that topic about that. So okay, here we go. Let me pull up a couple of scenarios. So somebody asked the question earlier, like, why would you need to do this? There's a few scenarios. I'm going to go through a few common scenarios. The first one would be you forgot to include a destination. So let's say when you set up your stream, you forgot to add YouTube. You looked up, you're like, oh crap, I forgot to put YouTube on here. Or, oh crap, I forgot to add we set up these destinations for my guest, and oh crap, I forgot to add it. Well, then you can just add it. Again, I just did the demo. I just showed you. You go up and you edit. You add the destination at that point. So definitely something for sure to think about. I definitely think that I know I've done this before, where the other thing is that maybe you didn't think to add it, right? You started a stream and you're like, oh my gosh, this is such a perfect topic for like my Facebook group. I should totally include them in this. And you just didn't think of it at the time. So you added it at the time. That's happened to me before, where before I really started fully multi-streaming, I was like, man, I should be adding this to this other destination. Hello. But the other thing is that, again, going into that pre-checklist, one of the things that in your pre-live checklist should be to check those things before you click go live. Check the description, make sure it doesn't need edited, check everything, make sure everything's good to go. Check the destinations, that you have all the right destinations set up in there. So that was that's a common scenario I think that is easy to happen, right? So for sure. Okay, let me see here. The other scenario that is going to come up is you want to create exclusive content. Let's say for a Facebook group, right? Now, this exclusive content could be anywhere, but I'm just using this as the example. This is actually one of my favorite things when it comes to this whole being able to add or remove a destination midstream. One of my favorite things is this exact concept. So I know a lot of people want to have a Facebook group where it's monetized, or they want to make sure they're creating exclusive content for a Facebook group. Because here's one thing about a Facebook group. If you're creating content and you're putting it on your Facebook page or your YouTube channel and your Facebook group, and it's all the same, what gives anybody a reason to join your group? I personally think that it's always a smart strategy to have some exclusive value inside of your community that you're managing. Now, that could be content. It could be an experience, right? Maybe you create these events inside of your group. You have guests that show up inside of your group. That's an example. But wouldn't it be awesome if you could multi-stream and have your stream starting everywhere, right? All over the place. And then all of a sudden you're like, all right, it's time for Q&A for my group members only. So if you want to join Q&A each week after we have these conversations, make sure you go join the Facebook community. So that's one way to get people in your group, right? But again, you're creating this scenario where you're able to create exclusive content for your group members. It makes them feel special. It makes them have a reason to join there, and you are offering extra value for them. So to do this, you would start your stream all over the place, right? Wherever you want to multi-stream, deliver your awesome content. And then for that Q&A session, you would go up and edit your destinations, and you would turn off the destinations that you want to end the stream for. And at that point, that is when it's actually going to end. That will end on YouTube at that point. The stream is over. So I definitely think that this is a smart strategy, but it also has to be thought about because, again, back to things to consider. One of the things you want to consider is that stream's going to end at that point. How is it going to feel for everybody? What's the experience going to be like? Is it going to feel awkward when you're like, all right, and then you're like up here clicking and you're like, okay, bye YouTube. I think that one way you could take it to the extra mile is to create a little transition video, like a little like intermission video, maybe 30 seconds, maybe 60 seconds, right? Maybe even longer if you are like, you stream for a long time and you need a break. You could actually say, all right, this is concluding this part of our segment. Now we're going to go into Q&A inside of our Facebook community. So everybody get ready. Facebook community members, get your questions ready. Start posting those questions now. I'm going to be gathering them and we're going to answer them. I'll be back in 60 seconds. Start that video, have it uploaded into StreamYard, click on that video, and then while that video is playing, the little transition video, you can then go up, edit your destinations, turn off YouTube, turn off your Facebook page, and then when the video's over, you're back on the show. All those comments coming from your Facebook community are going to be right there in your feed, right? And you can answer those questions. So this is kind of a nice little transition. I like the idea of you creating transitions if you are going to be using this strategy, right? So how does that sound to you guys? Does that sound pretty fun? Does that sound exciting? I mean, I would love to know your thoughts on that for sure. So yes, Christian makes a great reminder here as well, is that not everyone is starting at the beginning for sure, right? Many of you are just now joining right now, for example, right? Create consistency so your audience knows what to expect. I really like this point that Christian's making because that whole transition thing, that is coaching your Facebook community to know, oh, it's time for Q&A. And you're public facing, if people aren't in your community, they kind of get it too. But you're creating a smooth end to their part of the stream versus it just being awkwardly cut off, right? So I kind of like that transition piece. And to Christian's point, always throughout any live stream at any point, you need to be like welcoming new people, give them a quick, hey, this is what we're talking about today. If you have a question, give them that quick little orientation, as I like to call it, throughout your stream. So with that being said, what we're talking about today, we are answering Sue's question. This is, for our Ask StreamYard show. Her question was, she wanted to know if she can add a destination once the live video has started. And so that's definitely what we're talking about today. And so we are, sorry, I was reading a couple comments there. So so that's what we're doing. So that's what we're talking about. So we went through the first scenario, which is you forgot to add a destination. And then the scenario that I just covered was essentially, hey, you want to create exclusive content for a Facebook group. Now, the other thing, you could have it the other way around. I've seen this a lot where people will say, I'm really trying to grow my YouTube channel because I've been streaming to Facebook for, 3 years already. I have this great community, but now I've decided I want to have a YouTube channel. And so I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel. And there are various reasons why someone would want to grow a YouTube channel: monetization, other collaborations. Maybe their topic is really relevant for YouTube and that that's where they're moving. They're looking for that as another an element that they're adding to their strategy. So some of a tactic where you could start to drive more traffic over there is to use your existing audience and start to drive them over to your YouTube channel as well. So the scenario I just gave you about turning off the destinations on your Facebook page and on your YouTube channel so that you can then create some exclusive content for your Facebook community, you could essentially do the exact same thing the other way around. You could turn off the destination on Facebook, including the Facebook group, and you could say, we're going to go over and do Q&A. I'm going to go over and do Q&A over on my YouTube channel, or I'm going to go over and do like audits. I'm going to do audits of people's websites. If you're a website designer, you'd be like, now we're going to go into audit phase. I'm going to go over on YouTube and I'm going to do audits. Whatever it is, an exclusive segment of your show. But you're doing that. By doing that, you're driving traffic to your YouTube channel. So scenario number 3 is you want to drive traffic to another place. So you're trying to either move your audience, migrate your audience, or you're trying to grow an audience on one of the other platforms that you have. So I like this scenario too. Exact same scenario. You start your stream, you go up to edit the destination, and there you go, you turn it off. So definitely one of those things that another strategy that is very effective, can be very effective. Here's the thing to consider. There's always something to consider, right? Is that you don't want to alienate an audience. You don't want to alienate, don't make people feel awkward. Like, hey, these people have been your loyal followers for a really long time on Facebook, and now all of a sudden they're like, what the hell? Now you're going to cut us off? So give them a reason. Give them a reason, right? Again, I like the idea of a whole different segment to the show, and maybe just describe, like, this makes more sense for me to continue the stream over on YouTube, or, hey, come over, hang out with me on YouTube. It's awesome. Again, give them a reason. Don't make them feel like, what the heck, you're leaving us out, especially because you're taking an audience that's been loyal to you and now you're cutting them off, right? So there's definitely some thoughts there, some scenarios that you want to consider, and how you kind of phrase it, right? Candy says, that makes a lot of sense. Well, good. I'm glad that you think so. Candy. Let's see here. So the J Vlog says, my guys like chatting and commenting on the video, but when it comes to Q&A, it's crickets. So this is an interesting thing. So Q&As can be a little difficult. If they like chatting during the video, okay, what are they chatting about? Like, what's that conversation look like? Can you foster some of that dialogue and then convert it into questions? The other thing is that, are you coaching them, or are you just simply saying Q&A time, right? Sometimes audiences need to be coached that they can ask questions. Also, one thing I would recommend is you can incentivize Q&A, right? You can incentivize it as well. So maybe it's, hey, everybody that asked the question is going to be entered in a drawing, or, just really reward them, really make them feel like celebrated that they asked the question. The other thing I see sometimes, and I don't know if this has anything to do with yours, but sometimes Q&A, people like commenting, but asking questions, they feel vulnerable when it comes to asking questions. And so again, this is actually one of the reasons why you might want to consider having a private community, a Facebook group, because if you do that, they might feel more safe asking questions. I know that certain topics, this is definitely going to be prevalent with sensitive topics, depending on what it is you do, what your content is about. People are good with commenting, but when it comes to asking questions, people are afraid of, being judged for the question they're asking. They're afraid that, they're going to feel silly or, stupid or whatever, right? There's lots of things. There's a lot of emotions that go along. It creates a vulnerability, and not everybody's comfortable with it. And so if that is the case, then you might want to consider moving your Q&A into that private community. So that would be a great scenario where you would maybe want to do that. So something for sure to, think about. So, okay. What's the maximum amount of platforms I can stream to? So that is actually going to depend on your plan. So here's the deal. To do what we're talking about, you have to be on one of the paid plans. You cannot multi-stream multi-streaming would be having multiple destinations and getting involved. You can't do any of that unless you're on one of the paid plans. And so I'm going to look at get the exact numbers for you here in just a second. Maybe. Well, that part of the website doesn't look to be up right now. I think it's 3 destinations for basic and 8 destinations for professional. Christian, maybe you can just confirm that for me. I'm pretty sure that it's 8 destinations for basic here we go. 3 destinations for basic and 8 destinations for professional. I just found it. So yeah, so let me pull that up for y'all. So here are the plans. So here you see for multi-streaming, you've got 3 destinations in that basic plan. And then of course we have the 8 destinations in your professional. Now keep in mind, let's say you're streaming to 8 destinations and you now want to switch it up. You can actually turn off a destination and then add another destination while you're midstream. So there you go. So yeah, there you go. 0, 3, and 8. There you go. That's one way to put it. I like it. Okay, let's see here. Make sure we don't have any questions I'm missing. That was a good question though. Okay, let's see here. Just checking all our comments here. You guys are doing good in the comments, but I want to make sure I don't miss anything really important, right? Anything crazy. So, someone said Teams is out. It's not out yet. I don't think it's out yet. Not yet, but it's coming. It's coming. Okay, here we go. Let's move forward to the next scenario. How does that sound, you guys? Okay, so scenario number 4 that I kind of thought about was you need to add that guest channel. And we talked about this in the beginning. This is something, again, that is going to require planning. And I kind of jumped ahead on this one. We talked about things to consider because Sue's question that we are answering today was about a guest. She said, hey, they wanted me to add the platform after we were already live. Well, here's the deal. In order to add the guest platform, you would need to have them already on in your actual StreamYard account, okay? Now, the game is going to change once StreamYard Teams is out. I personally do not have the information on exactly how all of that's going to work, but I do think that collaborations like this example are going to be much more seamless, are going to be simpler. You will be able to add people to your account, remove them from your account, give them different access points. I'm really excited for this feature to come out, but I don't know all the nooks and crannies of it. But my guess would be that this process, if you were midstream, it might be easier. You might be able to quickly give somebody access to your StreamYard Teams account and they could quickly log in and add their destination. The problem is that right now it's a clunky process. To do it live, I think would be challenging, right? And so if your guest destination is already added to your account, then you would do it the way I described, which is simply you go in and when you're streaming, you click up here at the top at this edit button and you will get this area where you can edit your destinations. And it's that simple. So it really is easy as long as that guest channel is already added to your actual StreamYard account. So that's definitely something that you'd want to put in your pre-checklist as you're preparing with the guest. You want to ask the question, do we want to consider streaming to my guest channels? But again, the thing that you need to keep in mind is, is that a good fit? Do you want to add that other layer into it? I personally think that it could be a great way for you to get exposure to their audience. They are certainly going to appreciate this opportunity to be streaming to their channels as well. But here's the other thing. Do they stream to their channels? Or is this a brand new thing? Like, have they ever streamed before? Or is their audience even used to seeing them live? And if that's not the case, then you might want to consider not doing it. There are a bunch of things to think about that you've got to own because it's your brand. It's your interview. You are the person. They are your guest, right? So keep that in mind. Now, if you're doing collaborations, I know I do a lot of collaborations with people, and you're kind of both kind of just representing something and having a conversation, then yeah, that's a little bit different. You're not necessarily each other's guests. You're just there together talking about something you're passionate about. That is actually something where I'm really excited about StreamYard Teams. I think we're going to start to see more and more collaborations among brands and influencers actually streaming together because they can. And I think it's going to be awesome. I'm really excited about that feature coming up. So let me see if you guys had questions about that scenario. Let me see. I want more features in StreamYard for free. Well, don't we all want more for free, right? I will tell you, I actually really, really, really love how generous the StreamYard free plan is. You're not limited on what type of channels you can stream to. You can stream to a group, you can stream to a page, you can stream to a YouTube. I love it. You can use the overlays. You can use you can have, the banners and the tickers. You can display comments. You can have guests. Pretty generous in my opinion, but that's just my humble opinion, right? Okay, let me see here if we have any other questions. Nobody has questions in regard to that one. Let me see here. What's up, James Hicks? James Hicks in the house. Hello, James. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining us. If you are just joining us, we have been talking about adding destinations and removing destinations to your account. So this is the Ask StreamYard show where we each week at 11 o'clock, we are going to feature a question. Today, we are answering Sue's question and we are talking about adding and removing destinations during your live stream. And we've been talking about some scenarios and I wanted to also each scenario give you a breakdown of maybe some things to consider. Should you even do this, right? It's one of those things where maybe you don't want to do it. So I will definitely take questions. Do you guys have questions about all this topic now? Do you have questions? Do you want to explore this? Are there scenarios that doesn't make sense? Is there anything that didn't make sense to you that I was talking about? So if you have a question, I definitely want to stick around for a little bit longer. Put a Q in front of your question. If you don't have a question, tell me the way you want to use this feature. How will you think about using this feature moving forward, adding a destination or removing a destination during the middle of your live stream, right? So the other scenario that I think is really cool, by the way, is that if you do have a really an awesome guest, that whole Q&A, all that stuff I talked about earlier, what a great way to drive traffic. Again, if you're trying to drive traffic to that Facebook group or to that YouTube channel, to be on all your platforms, streaming with this high profile guest, and then exclusively offering maybe more content, more training with that guest or Q&A with that guest into one of your channels. Again, if you're trying to drive traffic one direction or the other, this is a great way to do that. You're giving people a reason to move from one channel to the other. And again, YouTube is the one that always comes to mind when it comes to the channel, because your view counts matter, your subscribers matter if you're trying to get into monetization. So that's definitely something to consider. Now, if you're trying to grow a Facebook group and that's your goal, then you would use the exact same scenario, just driving traffic into that Facebook group. But if you have a guest, you can do the same thing. You can have exclusive segments with a guest as well. So definitely want to check on or definitely wanted to kind of point that out for sure. So let me see here. The controlled captions are actually on your end. So we can't control that. That's actually on your end, the controlled captions. So definitely turn those on so that you can get that. So let me see here. Okay, this is a really interesting thought as well. So Light Lodges says, quick fixes if a channel drops during a broadcast. I'm worried about losing channels due to one of the DJs in next week's virtual set. So I don't know when a channel would drop, honestly. Like, I'm thinking about this. So Light Lodges, give me a little bit more information about why this is a concern. Because if your internet gets wonky, then you may lose connection. But your stream actually will still go on. If you lose power, for example, your stream is still going. But if you lose the internet connection, actually that will end your broadcast, I believe. But if you're losing internet connection, it's going to affect all your channels, right? So what would be a scenario where one channel would drop? I've never heard of that, but doesn't mean it can't happen. It's just I've never heard of that. So give me a little bit more insight. Have you had that happen before? It's an interesting concept for sure. My thought would be, this is an interesting concept. Let's say a channel did drop or you did turn off a channel midstream. Again, keep in mind at that point, that stream will end. Now, if you wanted to go back and then add that stream, when you add that stream, it's going to start a second live stream on that channel. So if I'm streaming to Facebook and I'm streaming to YouTube and I turn off YouTube, and then I talk about some stuff, and then I decide, I think I want to go back to YouTube, and I go back and I add YouTube again, it will create a second stream at that point. It will not pick up where it left off. So that is definitely something to keep in mind. And if that were the case, then what I would do is that when you actually do that edit, let's just say that's a YouTube one, I would edit and say, take 2. Like I would put that in there so that it's very clear for your audience, like, oh, this is, part 2, or say part 2 or whatever, right? So I would edit that, and you can edit it, and it's just going to edit that particular one right there. So that is definitely something to consider as well, is that if you do that, it is going to, start a new stream at that point, if that happened. So let me see here. Just check in on, yeah. Candy says, yes, part 2 tip. Yeah, for sure. Okay. Candy had a good question. I answered it good. Very good. Okay. So Sue said, I've had that happen on Facebook when we did a live DJ set. Interesting. Very interesting. So that's a scenario. Maybe my thought would be is that it's a copyright issue. So if it's music, again, and the other scenario was music as well, is my thought would be that it's a copyright strike, or it's a copyright, so it's going to end the stream. This is something it's a deep topic. It's definitely one of those things where if you're going to be adding music to your streams, whether it be a DJ or especially DJs, or even somebody playing a live music on stream, if they're doing a cover song, it is highly possible that platform is going to hear the notes. They use AI to detect this stuff, and they're going to say, boom, that's a copyright, and they're going to turn the stream off. So sometimes it happens while you're streaming. Sometimes it'll happen after your stream has ended, where they will actually delete the stream. They will remove it. So my guess is, because we're talking about DJs, is that it's probably a copyright thing. It's probably one of those things where it's been flagged, or it's just gotten that strike. So when you are dealing with music, that actually could happen. That makes total sense there. So for sure. All right, let me see here. Yes, I'm a DJ. It will happen. Yes. Okay. And I know that this has come up before. We get a lot of people asking about copyright and music and what is safe. And there are times where you actually do have the rights to the music, and they still flag you. It can be very frustrating, this whole world of copywriting and all that stuff. So it's definitely one of those challenging pieces to things. You definitely have to think about it, and you got to kind of weigh out some options, and work with your DJs, making sure that what they're playing is going to be okay. It's going to be approved. It's not going to cause any problems. So, okay. Light Lodges is actually, I just now saw I saw your follow-up comment. We have 6 performers in next week's event, and the first is a DJ. If the DJ plays a flagged song and the whole stream gets cut, we're screwed, right? Will Vimeo cut us too, or can I add channels later? Okay. The RTMP, let me see. I think the Vimeo will be okay. My guess is the Vimeo would be okay, but custom RTMP is the same. You can be dealing with custom RTMP when it comes to these destinations. The same scenario. If I'm not mistaken, I've not tested that myself. I would definitely test that. That's the other thing I would say is do a test. You can do a dry run of some sort, see if you get flagged. So if the stream does get cut, let's say, it turns that stream off, then I would do that scenario that I just described. I would go and first of all, that DJ is going to have to stop playing the music that's going to get it flagged and cut off. You're going to have a plan B there. And if that's the case, then I would go ahead and re-add the destination that was removed and do what I said, like part 2. And then just kind of pick the stream back up, right? So that would be something I would try for sure. So definitely a complex scenario there for sure. But being able to, add and being able to do this and edit the destinations midstream is what's a cool feature, is that you can actually have a plan B. You can actually try to get the stream fixed. You can actually try to get back to streaming for sure. So what other scenarios do you guys have where you're actually going to use this, right? Like, I would love to know what other scenarios would you use this whole, like, starting a stream, changing a stream, all those things, right? Be like to find that. Ian says, bots are so fast to find music being played. Yeah, they've really beefed up that technology in the last couple of years. Big time. I've definitely seen a big uptick in that. And again, the thing that frustrates me is that there's times when you're like, no, I have a subscription to this music service. This is actually okay. And you get that strike and you got to deal with it, and it's a pain in the butt, for sure. All right. Let me see here. I thought I saw, okay, yes, I did see another. Okay, so Barb says, hello, Barb. How do I have more than one Chrome tabs open so to show? Okay, how do I have more than one Chrome tab open to show on my dashboard? Okay, you actually just open another tab. You literally would want to open another window. So you can just go to Chrome, go up to the top right-hand corner. Hold on. Up here in these three dots, when you select the three dots, you're going to see new tab, new window. Select one of those. And that's how you're going to actually do that. And the whole multiple browser thing, the value of the multiple browsers is that's actually one of the ways you can add multiple camera inputs if you want to use it that way. There's complexities there, of course, right? There's complexities there, of course, but that's how you would do that. One of the things I will tell you, this is totally bonus. We're going into bonus mode. We're here. We're in bonus mode. Do you guys want a bonus tip from me? Because I'm feeling very generous today, all about a bonus tip, right? One of the things that we hear and that I know I've run into sometimes is that it's like, okay, I've got comments open, but I want to be able to see comments and still control my banners. Now, I know that StreamYard's still vetting this out. I think that they have thought about it. I don't get to talk to Dan and Gage. I mean, I'd love to. I got all kinds of ideas for Dan and Gage, right? Like you all do. But I know that it's been brought up. It's been one of those things where they've thought about changing the actual organization of the dashboard so that we have comments up, but we also have another window for controls, as I like to call them. But a workaround to that would be to have another browser window open. So let me see if I can do this without getting really crazy here. So let me show you what this can look like. Oh my gosh, this is going to be, I hope I don't break anything. You guys just bear with me for a sec. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm opening another browser window and I am entering the same stream, okay? So let me pull this up so you can see what I'm doing. Try to do it in a way that doesn't get me in trouble. All right, hold on. Bear with me. I'm getting there. Okay. Well, hello, Cynthia from Purgatory Paranormal of New York. Hello. Yes, sorry about the lawnmower. They decided to come mow the lawn today at the condo. Apologize for that. Okay, so yes. Oh, good. John says, or file new window on a Mac. Thank you. I am definitely using a PC today. So, okay, let me see here. Share my screen. I'll show this to you guys. All right, so here we are. I'm in the dashboard. I'm already in it twice. Just so you guys know, I'm already in it twice. So here's my main source, my main camera source. And then I entered it again, and I've entered it muted and my camera's off, but I'm not, you can see here that this particular browser right here is entered, but it is not in the stream, okay? I'm going to do that again. So I'm going to go over here, and the way that you do that is that you would actually come over here and you would see, this is where I'm live right now. So I'm going to enter that broadcast. All right, we're entering that broadcast again. I'm going to stop the camera. I'm going to mute my microphone. The other thing that's really important is that you have your speaker turned off. So your audio, my speaker, this is a speaker, but I have that speaker completely turned off right now. That's going to eliminate any echo, any sounds that come out. It's going to eliminate the echo. Even though my mic is muted, just do it anyway. So if you want to do this, that's important. So I'm going to enter the studio again. And as you look, now I'm in it 3 times. 3 times, here we go, right? So I can see comments here, or I can see comments here, but then over here, I could go to my banners. I can still see all comments. I can go all the way down, right? Today, yeah, I have always been a PC user. Totally true, right? Okay, so here we are. I can see and display Christian's comment. So Peter's like, yeah, 2 screens, right? On a phone, yada, yada. But I can go over here and I can also control my banners. So I can not only see comments, but I can also control banners over here in the other window. I know that this looks really, really, really messy because you got the Inception thing going on. But the whole point is that you can actually have everything open in more than one window and use one to control banners or overlays, and then use the other one to see your comments and display comments. So that's the current workaround right for now. I know that this is a common thing where people will say, man, I want to keep the comments up and display them, but I hate having to click over on the tabs, and then because then I lose comments while I'm in the tabs. And so you can actually open up another browser. Now keep in mind that other browser running is going to take up CPU usage. So you don't want to do this on a really weak computer. You want to do this if your computer is strong enough and you have some good RAM, all of your other stuff is turned off, you're hardwired in, all those types of things. So wanted to show you that. What did you guys think of that bonus tip? I always like to give a little bonus tip, right? A bonus tip. That's a pro tip right there. Yeah. Again, test it first. Test it first, right? For sure. So it says mind blowing. Yeah. So I will say this. It's definitely, you do not have to have two monitors to do it. So what I showed you, right, was my second monitor, but you don't have to. This is something that I run into a lot with people. People think that they need to have StreamYard all the way open fully on their monitor. So then when we talk about adding, another browser, they're like, I don't have room. You don't have to be open all the way. I know that it's nice to see your face big on that screen. It gives you, you're like, okay, I can see everything. But you can minimize the window. In fact, let me show you this that is kind of crazy. So if you really just want to create one browser that's just controls or comments, watch what you can do. This is my second monitor. But if you minimize the screen, look what happens. The comments stay prevalent. This is why StreamYard is so freaking great, you guys. This is one of the reasons why I love StreamYard, because they have thought about some of these things. You can look at this. I don't need to see myself here. I've already got myself open on my other one, right? So if you do want to have one thing open and just see that, you can. You totally can. You don't have to have the browser huge. You can minimize it. And the same, if I were to do banners, it's the same thing. I don't need to be distracted by all this because I've got it open in the other browser. I'm just using this to control the banners. I'm just using this to keep banners up so that I can still see comments, still see what's going on my main window, but then I have this little kind of control panel over here. All right. So super thing that's really important. So, but yeah, bonus tip, right? That had nothing to do with adding or removing destinations from a stream. But hey, sometimes just got to pull out a bonus tip. You know what I mean? I just like doing that. Okay. Jennifer's Zest says, it's so funny. I actually found that out because I didn't mute the volume on the second window and I was hearing an echo. Yeah. So that whole second browser, you need to mute your mic, turn off the camera just because it's safer. And then, again, that's going to reduce CPU usage. And then of course, whatever speaker, select a speaker that's either inactive or turned down. So there you go. I definitely think that, the bonus thing was kind of a funny thing to do. I hope you guys liked it. Okay, let me see here. You guys, I want to tell you, I was looking to see if there were any more questions about today's. Sue says there's a workaround for everything. There really are so many little things you can do to make it work. I will tell you, that's one I always say it's like treasure hunting. It's like treasure hunting. There's got to be a way. There's got to be a way to make this work, right? And we have a fun video that I did that's on the YouTube channel. It's 5 kind of hidden, not so hidden features of StreamYard, one being the space bar. Oh, somebody said that was actually like a common Chrome thing, I think, but I don't know if it is or not. But the space bar is an undo button also. So if you want to display something and then you want to undisplay it and not have to look and click it with your mouse, you can just hit the space bar. There you go. So, but there's a fun video that we did that are hey, here's some things maybe you've not known, discovered, or even thought about that StreamYard can do. It's really cool. So I always like to call it treasure hunting for sure. So it's a lot of fun. All right, my friends, here we go. Let me read this one real fast. I'm streaming to Facebook event, YouTube channel, and LinkedIn simultaneously. I cannot access comments. Is it possible to rectify the situation? That is currently an API limitation. So Facebook events definitely pose challenges because it's an RTMP style. LinkedIn, the comments should be displayed. They should come through. But yes, if you're using certain types have limitations, there's any RTMP destinations, like if you're like the one scenario earlier about streaming to Vimeo, you actually, those comments don't come through. So when you're streaming using RTMP, it's kind of a one-way communication signal. So that RTMP is coming from StreamYard to whatever that destination is, but there's no signal data coming back to you. Meaning, so if somebody's commenting in the chat, that data is not coming back to StreamYard. That is an API limitation when it comes to that. So definitely one of those things. So make chat a detachable tab. That's a really good idea. Like there have definitely been some really cool ideas around this whole like concept of the layout of the studio. So whatever ideas you guys have, send those over to go to StreamYard.com/contact and you can fill out that form. I love that they are always open to listening and hearing these ideas that you guys have. A lot of the things that have been changed or added into the StreamYard platform are from the user experience and people saying, hey, how about this? How about this? How about that? So I definitely know that they listen to those things and they definitely want you guys to know. Can you multi-stream with the standard version? We don't, if you're talking about the basic version, yes. So you have the free plan, you have the basic plan, and you have the professional plan. You can multi-stream to 3 destinations with the basic plan, and you can multiply. You can multi-stream to 8 destinations with the professional plan. Excuse me. So for sure. So I think that makes it for today's questions. So let me tell you this, guys. Sorry. Got a little tickle in the throat. Next week, you guys, okay. Next week, I'm really excited about our show. So next week, I'm going to be back with you guys, and we are actually going to be talking about live streaming and podcasting. Oh, super excited about this one. So I'm actually going to bring on one of my really good friends and podcasting experts. She's a podcasting coach. Actually, she wrote a dang book about it. I mean, she's legit. She's awesome. Crystal Prophet is actually going to join me on the stream next week, and we're going to talk about doing a live stream and a podcast. You know, live streaming a podcast recording. Can you do a live podcast while you do a live video? What does that look like? So we're actually going to be talking about that next week. So really excited about that. So definitely make sure that you are subscribed to our channels. You've joined our Facebook group, whatever it might be. We will be live with you guys next Wednesday at 11 o'clock Eastern to talk about that topic, which is going to be fantastic. And again, as a reminder, Christian, I got the shirt. I got it. As a reminder, this is the Ask StreamYard show. And if you have a question, use the hashtag Ask StreamYard. And if it's juicy enough, it's got to be juicy. All right? It's got to be juicy. If it's juicy and we like it and we think others will benefit from us breaking it down for you, not only are we going to send you one of these awesome t-shirts, right? We're going to feature your question on the show. Just like we did today, we featured Sue's question, which was about adding a destination to a live stream once the live stream has already started. So you could be like Sue. You could get a t-shirt. We could feature you. You could get your question answered. Boom. It'd be fun. So if you've got a question, definitely use that hashtag for sure. And then, of course, join our Facebook community. That's the best place to go. I know I like to look for questions in there. We also have what's called the StreamYard office hours, where Julie Riley and I take some of those more basic questions or just whatever questions that we want to grab and we haven't been able to feature. We try to answer those questions as well. So we want to support you. StreamYard definitely wants to take care of you guys. I definitely think that's one of their values and their virtues. And I think it's fantastic that they definitely want to take care of you for sure. So, I definitely think that we love StreamYard. We're not doing a giveaway today. We don't do a giveaway on this particular show. Maybe we will someday, but on all those other shows, we definitely do giveaways. But hey, you can still use the love StreamYard for sure, right? Okay, my friends, this was a good one today. Juicy, of course. Sue, thank you so much for posting that question and letting us feature it. And your t-shirt is on the way, I'm sure, if it hasn't already arrived, for sure. So thank you again, everybody. Hopefully you will tune in next week when I've got Crystal Prophet with me, hanging out, talking about podcasting, live streaming, doing it together. Can you do it at the same time? Can you do a live podcast? What does that look like? What's the podcasting world look like these days? And can you live stream while you record a podcast? We're going to break it down. We're going to talk about all kinds of fun stuff. So bring your questions next week for Crystal and I as we talk about that topic. All right, my friends, until then, I will see you later. Bye-bye.